Hi everybody, this is Doc Harmon from the Westchester Children's Museum. Obviously I'm outside today, and why? Because today's topic is clouds with a chance of science. Now behind me you can see those beautiful cumulus clouds. We're going to look at a whole bunch of kind of clouds, and I'll be back with you in just a minute. Now here are some cirrus clouds. Those are very high in the sky. Over here are some more of those beautiful cumulus clouds. They go way up. So let's learn a little bit about clouds. You know that clouds are an essential part of the water cycle. They're responsible for all the rain and the snow and what we need for life to exist. Water from the rivers and the lakes and oceans, even the earth itself, evaporates into the air to make clouds. Remember evaporate? It means to change from a liquid to a gas. Other liquids can also evaporate, like alcohol, but today we're talking about water. And you know what heat does to water? It makes it evaporate faster. Where does the heat come from? The sun. As the liquid water gets warmer, more and more of the molecules stop clinging to each other so tightly and float free to become part of that invisible gas we call water vapor. Well, that's evaporation. Now, because evaporated water molecules are warm, they rise higher and higher in the air where the temperature actually is cooler than it was on the ground. In fact, about 1.5 miles up, the air is pretty close to 30 degrees Fahrenheit where water freezes. So at that temperature, the water molecules are eager to get back together. So how does our invisible gas become a very visible cloud? The answer is that in the air, there are tiny dusty particles that sweep up the water molecules by the trillions to become a tiny speck of ice. That's condensation. Now we know ice isn't invisible. So trillions and trillions and trillions of these ice particles side by side on top of one another become the very visible cloud that we see. And so these clouds complete the water cycle by eventually delivering rain and snow back down to the earth. Now let's do the experiments. What you're going to need for this first experiment is as follows. You're going to need a 2-liter clear plastic bottle. You're going to need something called a fizz keeper. Now this is something that you buy mostly online to put on top of your carbonated beverage soda bottles so that they don't lose their carbonation. This is what it looks like. And I attach this to the bottle. It screws on like this. The next thing you need is a tiny bit of rubbing alcohol. Oh, less than half a teaspoon. That's plenty. Now I close the lid and I roll it around so that the alcohol gets spread around and can evaporate more easily. That's good. We're finished with that. Now, physics tells us that if I increase this pressure by pumping, which you would do at home on your carbonated soda bottle, if I increase the pressure, it also increases the temperature. Now, do you remember what happens when we increase the temperature? Evaporation increases. We've already talked about that before. Okay, that should be pretty close to enough. Now you'll notice no evidence of any cloud. If I shine a flashlight through there, nothing. I can even use a laser, which is a more sensitive thing to use, and it just goes right through, nothing at all. Now, physics also says that if you release the pressure quickly, the temperature should drop quickly. Now you remember what happens to the the water molecules as they rise through the air. When it gets cold enough, clouds form and the water can condense. The same thing can happen here. If I release it, the temperature will drop, which means the vapor should condense. Okay, let's see if that happens. There it is. That is alcohol vapor. Now you don't really need a flashlight. You can see the beam that's right in there. You can also see that the laser very clearly shows the beam. But look at the top. Nothing, layer. Nothing, cloud. And the cloud will gradually settle, and we can do more to show that. Nothing, cloud. Actually, NASA uses this exact same thing with satellites that send laser beams down to the clouds, and the space station too. And they send them down, and they can actually measure the height of a cloud. We can't do that from the Earth, but from the space station or from the satellites, they get a reflected signal back, and they can tell exactly how high the cloud is. So that does it for this experiment. This is an example of an experiment you can do real easily at home. That's warm water from the tap in the bottom of this jar. I have some ice in a metal bowl, and I'm going to give a little spritz of hairspray into the jar to act like the dirt particles that are actually in the atmosphere for water to condense on. Now it doesn't take very long. We'll soon begin to see some particles of vapor. If I shine a light through, you can see them begin to form already up at the top. They're getting thicker. Oh, you can see them streaming down. It's even clearer with the laser. The laser goes through the water uninterrupted, but the particles in the air, the vapor, refract and reflect the beam of light so that we can actually see it. I hope you've enjoyed seeing these experiments on clouds, and maybe you'll even be able to do at least one at home. What you certainly can do, if you're outside and the sky is filled with clouds, you can look up and try to tell what kind they are. Now really there's over 100 different kinds of clouds, but here's 3 for you to look for. I pointed them out at the start. They're fluffy cotton ball ones. We call those cumulus clouds. Some people call them Hollywood clouds. They're usually flat on the bottom, about 1.5 miles up. That's where the temperature is right at about freezing and clouds can start to form. But they can go as high as 50,000 feet. And sometimes they actually have lightning from cloud to cloud. The thin, wispy looking ones are called cirrus, and they're always very, very high. The last type is called stratus. They are like low-lying blankets, and when a lot of them get together, they totally cover the sky, and that's when you have an overcast day and not see the sun. This is Doc Harmon, and I'll see you again next time, I hope.